down here at the bottom. And so we have on touch with a view and a motion event. And now this motion event is the key here, because from it we're able to take X and Y coordinates where the user touched the screen and store those if we like. So the way that I'm going to communicate where these X and Y coordinates are and send them to the paint view is I'm going to create a new kind of point. And I'm just going to call that color point, because not only do we need to know where the user touched, we need to know what color the paint was set to at that time. So instead of object, I'm just going to have my superclass be a point, which is an Android.graphics object that we're going to be subclassing. Remember to keep the constructors from the superclass, and we'll go ahead and finish. And so this color point already has X and Y coordinates, and all we're going to add is another int to store the color. Alright, so now we have our color point. And what we want is a list of color points that we can then use to draw all of them out onto the canvas every time something is touched. So in the main activity, I'm going to create a list, and that's where I'm going to store each color point as it's created. So I'm using an array list because that allows me to append new points to the end of the list every time I need to. So now that I have my list, I can go ahead and implement my onTouch method. So with onTouch, I'm going to need a new color point. The point's X coordinate is going to be extracted from arg1. As it's stored. Same with the Y coordinate. And the color is just going to get the current color that's in the paint view paint object. So now we have our point, and we're just going to add this to our list. And then we're going to call invalidate on arg0. Now remember, arg0 is a view, and in this case it's referring to our paint view. And what invalidate does is it forces our paint view to call on draw, which is exactly what we want. And finally, we return true. So now it's time to implement our onDraw method. To override that, we're going to type out method skeleton signature. And the override annotation basically tells the compiler not to use the original view onDraw method, but instead to use the one that we're about to implement. So what we want to do is we have two cases. We have if the paint color is white, which if you'll recall we set the paint color to be white when we want to clear the list, or when it's not white we want to draw. So in our if statement, if our paint color is white, then we want to clear the list. And this is going to yell at me because I need to import color. And oh, I need to make this list static. And basically making it static just means that it's accessible to every class, and also it's the same for every instantiation of main activity. So now we have our first case if the color is white. But if it's not white, we want to draw. So we want to go through the list of points. And for each point, we want to make sure we're drawing the right color. And then we want to draw. So what this is saying is we just want to draw a dot at the x and y coordinates as specified. This field represents the radius of the dot that we're going to draw, and this is our paint object. And so now we've finished all of our coding, and we're ready to run our app. So now I've launched the app on my phone, and you can see that it starts out drawing black, and then I can choose different colors. And then my clear button erases everything so that I can start over. And there you have it, PaintPot for Android.